Just 4 days ago, the world was shaken by the launch of Operation Epic Fury, a massive coordinated military assault on Iran, led by the United States and Israel. The operation began with a series of precision airstrikes targeting key military and infrastructure sites across Iran, and quickly escalated into one of the most significant military confrontations in the region in recent years. The scale and speed of the attack caught many by surprise, sending shockwaves through governments and markets worldwide. The initial strikes have resulted in hundreds of casualties, with both military personnel and civilians caught in the crossfire. Critical infrastructure, including oil refineries and power plants, has been severely damaged, plunging parts of Iran into darkness and chaos. The destruction has not only devastated local communities, but also sent a clear message about the intensity and reach of this operation. The world is now grappling with the immediate humanitarian crisis, as emergency services struggle to respond amid ongoing violence. The ripple effects have been felt far beyond Iran's borders. Global oil prices have surged to levels not seen in years, fueling economic uncertainty and sparking fears of a worldwide energy crisis. Airports across the Middle East are overwhelmed as thousands attempt to flee the region, and governments are scrambling to organize emergency evacuations for their citizens. The disruption to travel and trade is already being felt in major cities around the globe. In response to the escalating conflict, the United States has rapidly deployed additional military forces to the region, including ground troops, warships, and advanced aircraft. This significant buildup signals a potentially long-term commitment, raising questions about the future of U.S. involvement and the possibility of a broader regional war. Military analysts warn that the situation could quickly spiral out of control if diplomatic efforts fail. Despite suffering heavy losses and widespread destruction, Iran has not backed down. Instead, it has launched a series of retaliatory missile strikes against U.S. and Israeli targets, vowing to defend its sovereignty at any cost. The risk of further escalation is high, with both sides exchanging threats and mobilizing additional forces. The world watches anxiously as the conflict teeters on the edge of a much larger confrontation. The impact of this conflict is truly global. Fuel prices are spiking, supply chains are disrupted, and financial markets are reacting with volatility. Everyday people are feeling the effects at the gas pump, in grocery stores, and in their daily routines. Businesses are bracing for further instability, and governments are working to mitigate the fallout as the crisis deepens. In this special report, we'll break down how this war began, what the United States and Israel hope to achieve, and the consequences that have unfolded so far. We'll also explore the strategic objectives behind Operation Epic Fury, the risks of miscalculation, and the potential for diplomatic solutions amid the chaos. The international response has been swift and divided. The United Nations has called for an emergency session, while world leaders debate the best path forward. Protests have erupted in cities across the globe, with people demanding an end to the violence and a return to diplomacy. The coming days will be critical as nations weigh their options and alliances are tested. As the fourth day of conflict draws to a close, the situation remains highly volatile. New attacks are likely, and the threat of further escalation looms large over the region. Civilians continue to seek shelter, uncertain of what tomorrow will bring. Around the world, people are glued to their screens, anxiously following every development. The uncertainty is palpable, and the stakes could not be higher as the world waits to see what the next days will bring. In the following chapters, we'll break down the key events, analyze their significance, and explore what they mean for the future of the region and the world. The war erupted without warning, catching millions off guard as the world slept. In the darkness before dawn, the silence was shattered by the thunder of explosions echoing across the city. People jolted awake, confused and terrified, as the first reports of attacks began to trickle in. It was the early hours of March 1st, a time when most were still in bed, unaware that their lives were about to change forever. The city, usually calm at this hour, was suddenly alive with fear and uncertainty. In a meticulously planned operation, U.S. and Israeli forces unleashed a barrage of airstrikes and missile attacks across Iran. The skies above Tehran and other major cities lit up as explosions rocked neighborhoods, targeting military installations, government buildings, and critical infrastructure. The scale and precision of the assault left little doubt. This was a coordinated, high-stakes offensive, but nothing was more shocking than the news that followed. the reported assassination of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, in a direct strike on his heavily fortified compound. The attack left the heart of Iran's leadership in ruins, sending shockwaves through the nation and the world. In the immediate aftermath, chaos reigned at the highest levels of government. With the supreme leader gone, an interim council scrambled to assert control, holding emergency meetings deep into the night. The sudden power vacuum threatened to destabilize the entire country. All eyes quickly turned to Mojtaba Khamenei, the supreme leader's son. Backed by the powerful Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, he emerged as the likely successor. His close ties to the military and hardline factions made him a formidable figure in the unfolding crisis. Meanwhile, in Washington and Tel Aviv, officials justified the attack as a necessary preemptive move. They cited intelligence reports of imminent threats and the collapse of nuclear negotiations, arguing that decisive action was the only option left to prevent a greater catastrophe. Yet, behind closed doors, some officials admitted the situation was more complicated. There was no clear evidence of an immediate danger. Instead, diplomatic failures, mounting frustration, and intense pressure from Israeli leaders played a crucial role in the decision to strike. The strikes were not just about crippling Iran's military, they were aimed at the very core of its leadership, sending a message that no one was untouchable. The destruction of key government sites signaled a new, more dangerous phase in the conflict. As dawn broke, the world awoke to a new reality. News of the attacks spread rapidly, leaving families glued to their televisions, anxious and uncertain about what would come next. The region was on edge, and the future had never felt more uncertain. Operation Epic Fury's main goal: destroy Iran's nuclear program. US and Israeli strikes have targeted nuclear sites, missile facilities, and drone programs to cripple Iran's military power. The campaign also aims to weaken the IRGC, Iran's most powerful military and political force. By hitting command centers and senior leaders, the Allies hope to destabilize the regime and disrupt its support for proxy groups. The message is clear. Any perceived threat will be met with overwhelming force. The old rules no longer apply. This is a new era of confrontation. In 4 days, nearly 2,000 targets have been hit across Iran. US and Israeli forces have used jets, bombers, and missiles to systematically dismantle Iran's military infrastructure. Over 50,000 US troops are now in the region, with aircraft carriers and bombers on standby. Iran has retaliated with hundreds of missiles and thousands of drones, striking Israel and US bases in the Gulf. The intensity of Iran's counterattacks is waning as its launch sites are destroyed. Symbolic targets, government buildings, media centers, even a UNESCO site, have been hit to demoralize Iran's leadership. These strikes risk uniting Iranians against the attackers, even as they weaken the regime. The campaign is relentless, and the stakes are rising. The human cost is staggering. Over 870 killed, most of them civilians in Iran. In cities and villages alike, families are left shattered, their lives forever changed in an instant. The sound of sirens and the cries of loved ones echo through the streets, as communities struggle to comprehend the scale of their loss. For many, the pain is not just in numbers, but in the faces of neighbors, friends, and children who will never return home. A devastating airstrike on a girls' school in Manab killed at least 175 children, drawing global outrage. The attack has left a deep scar on the community, with parents searching through rubble and rescue teams working tirelessly to find survivors. The world has watched in horror as images of tiny shoes and school books scattered among the ruins circulate online, fueling calls for accountability and justice. Civilian casualties are mounting in Lebanon and Israel as well, with dozens dead and daily life upended. In both countries, families huddle in fear as explosions rock their neighborhoods. Streets once filled with laughter and daily routines are now scenes of chaos, with emergency workers racing against time to save the wounded. The sense of insecurity is palpable, as no one knows when or where the next strike will hit. Foreign nationals have also been killed, showing the conflict's wide reach. Aid workers, journalists, and travelers from around the world have found themselves caught in the violence, highlighting how this war transcends borders and touches lives far beyond the region. 6 US service members have died, including 4 in a drone attack in Kuwait. Their loss is felt deeply back home, where families and communities mourn the sacrifice of loved ones sent far from home. The conflict's reach into military bases and diplomatic missions underscores its unpredictable and dangerous nature. The war's brutality is felt in every corner of the region. Cities lie in ruins, and entire neighborhoods have been reduced to rubble. Families are forced to flee with only what they can carry, seeking safety wherever they can find it. The destruction is not just physical, but emotional, leaving scars that may never heal. Bomb shelters, evacuations, and fear have become daily realities. Children sleep in underground shelters, clutching their parents, while families wait anxiously for news of loved ones. The uncertainty and terror have become a constant companion for millions. The images from Manab have become a symbol of the war's horror. Vigils and memorials are held across the world as people unite in grief and solidarity with the victims. These haunting images serve as a stark reminder of the innocent lives lost and the urgent need for peace. The toll on families, American, Iranian, Lebanese, Israeli, is growing by the hour. Each loss ripples through generations, leaving grandparents, parents, and children to mourn together. The shared pain crosses borders and backgrounds, uniting people in sorrow. Civilians are paying the highest price in this escalating conflict. As the violence continues, their suffering stands as a powerful call for the world to act, to seek an end to the bloodshed, and to remember the human faces behind the headlines. The war has sent shockwaves through the global economy. Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz, halting a fifth of the world's oil supply and sending prices soaring. Gasoline costs are spiking worldwide, fueling inflation and economic pain. Iraq's oil fields are slowing production and global supply chains are under new strain. Mass evacuations are underway with airports overwhelmed and embassies shuttered. Airlines are rerouting flights, and shipping insurance costs have skyrocketed. The region's economy, from Dubai tourism to Gulf finance, is bracing for a severe downturn. The war is dismantling the economic fabric of the Middle East. The world is feeling the impact far beyond the battlefield. The strikes have split the world. Russia, France, and Canada condemned the attacks as reckless and illegal, demanding a ceasefire. The US remains defiant, preparing for even larger strikes and dismissing criticism. European allies are divided. France deploys its carrier. The UK sends a warship, while Spain refuses US base access. Tensions within NATO are rising, with threats of trade retaliation. The CIA is reportedly arming Kurdish groups inside Iran, risking a new front in the war. Some US lawmakers warn of mission creep and a wider, open-ended conflict. Proxy forces and covert operations are raising the stakes. Diplomacy is faltering as the world's divisions deepen. The war has spread to Lebanon, where Hezbollah launched rockets and drones into Israel. Israel responded with massive airstrikes, hitting deep into Lebanon and targeting Hezbollah strongholds. Nearly 100,000 Israeli reservists have been called up, and ground troops are moving into southern Lebanon. The fighting has displaced thousands and turned the border into a war zone. The risk of a full-scale ground invasion is real, echoing past wars. The conflict now stretches Israeli resources and threatens to draw in more regional actors. The war is no longer limited to Iran, it's a multi-front crisis with devastating consequences. As the conflict enters its fifth day, the future is dangerously uncertain. US officials predict weeks of airstrikes, but many fear a drawn-out, open-ended war. Iran's leadership vows to resist, and proxy forces are escalating attacks across the region. Diplomatic solutions seem out of reach. Both sides are locked into military action. The CIA's support for Kurdish groups could ignite a ground war inside Iran. Clashes with Hezbollah threaten a full-scale invasion of Lebanon. Other Iranian-backed militias may soon join the fight, risking a regional explosion. The world watches, hoping for restraint, but fearing catastrophe. The human and economic costs are mounting, and the geopolitical order is shaken. The next days will decide if this war can be contained, or if it will spiral out of control.